Google is the latest tech giant to trim thousands of jobs.
The company plans to lay off 10,000 employees.
Microsoft announced Wednesday it would lay off 10,000 employees.
There are 4 reasons why companies like Amazon, Microsoft, and a bunch of startups are firing their staff. Post-COVID reality, the stock price, recession, and artificial intelligence. We'll go through each of these in more detail, but just to recap, what happened exactly? Well, imagine this. You wake up, you get a cup of coffee, get dressed to start your day, the usual routine you go through right before you go to work. You decide to check your email and your laptop to make sure there's nothing urgent before you start the day. And then suddenly you can access your emails. You get a cryptic message saying your organization has decided to block your account. Then you go to check the news and you see the front page of the Wall Street Journal saying there were massive layoffs in your company. You text your manager and find out that you were let go overnight. This happened to thousands of employees in Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, and other companies around the world. But why? Aren't these companies supposed to be the most profitable companies in the world? You'd think they have enough cash to keep their employees, right? Well, it's more complicated than that. Let's break it down. Hello everyone, my name is Antonio. I'm a finance manager at Google, and in this channel, I help you understand what's happening in the world of business and technology. Almost 200,000 people have been fired from their jobs in the last 12 months. From big tech to startups, from recruiters to software engineers, and it looks like it won't stop. Why? There are 4 main reasons why all these companies are firing their employees. Let's go through each of them. Post-COVID reality. If you go back to the start of the decade, the world entered a period of confinement as a public health safety measure. People couldn't go to their offices to work or go to the grocery store to buy food. The world lost for a little while the freedom to work productively and consume freely. But then the tech companies came to save the day. Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Netflix, Zoom, Slack, they gave governments and businesses the ability to operate as if nothing had happened by using their products. Whether it was video conferencing software, office productivity tools, or management of their tech stack via the cloud, the world started to shift into a path of digital transformation. Business plans and financial forecasts were updated to reflect the new reality that the world was finally accelerating its reliance on tech giants. And more importantly, that this reality was a new paradigm shift rather than an anomaly. This meant a big influx of revenue was expected to come, which meant companies had to invest more aggressively in hiring the right talent to develop the products of the future. Take a look at these charts. You can see the headcount growth during the years we had COVID. Because the growth expectations were so strong, hiring this many people made sense. But what if this was, in fact, an anomaly? What if after COVID, people wanted to go back to the office or were forced to go back to the office? What if people preferred buying their groceries in person rather than go through an app? What if businesses wanted to invest money in other things rather than digitizing all their tools and processes? Well, then all these companies would be stuck with a massive cost structure while revenue was declining. This translates into lower profits on a long-term basis, which is not well liked by investors. To keep investors happy, profits have to be grown over time, and the only way to rectify a mistake like this one is to fire employees. Immediate cost cutting, which boosts profits, which boosts the stock price. A company's stock price reflects the collective opinion and sentiment of market participants regarding the company's future prospects. Positive news such as strong financial performance can drive the stock price up, indicating optimism about the company's future. Conversely, negative news such as poor earnings can lead to a decline in the stock price, reflecting concerns or pessimism. But there are 2 things that are very, very important here. Number 1, executive compensation, so people that are the CEOs and CFOs of companies. That compensation is tied to how well the stock performs in the short term and the long term. So there's an incentive for executives to keep the stock price as high as they possibly can, and the higher it is, the richer they get. And it applies to investors too. Regardless if it is an individual like you and me or an institution that buys a bunch of stock, their expectation is that the price will go up and they'll earn a return. Number 2, tech companies tend to have a highly bloated cost structure. The perfect example is Twitter. When Elon Musk took over the company and made it private, he cut payroll costs by firing 80% of the staff that he considered non-essential. A lot of the roles like recruiting, program management, operations, strategy, etc. are roles that don't contribute to designing, developing, marketing, or selling the product. Therefore, that's why they're the typically ones that go first.
I think we're about 20% of the original size.
So 80% left.
Yes.
And if you look at the market's reaction after the layoffs, you will notice that the price went up in most FANG stocks. Why? Because the market will reward these cuts because the companies are course correcting, which is a good thing. But what if the cost cuts are not enough? Well, let's talk about a recession. Even though we are not in a recession yet, we are living in a highly inflationary environment. Interest rates are rising and the prospects of a collapsing economy get more dire by the day. And a weak economic environment means that businesses won't grow. In fact, they might shrink. And a weak economy has a domino effect. If a consumer doesn't shop as much, online particularly, it's not just that business that runs the online store that gets affected, but also the payment platforms like Shopify or Stripe, because the volume of transactions with your credit card decreases. And because of this lower economic activity, business in this type of environment typically tend to be more conservative and cut spending as much as possible, anticipating the fact that they're no longer in growth mode, but survival mode instead. This is where the layoffs start to happen. Jobs that are open to help the company grow are the first ones to go. Support functions like recruiting, strategy and operations, marketing, and even finance. Yes, I'm in finance, but I was not fired by Google, thankfully. This is backed up by a study done by Revelio Labs. As long as we continue to see in the news that the economy is weakening, layoffs are likely to continue. Now let's talk about AI. The AI wars have started. Artificial intelligence will have a massive impact on jobs. There's no question about it. Think about ChatGPT, Bard, and all the applications that are being created right now using their APIs. All of this has the intent of making people and businesses more productive and save some cost. Let's take the example of copywriting. Before artificial intelligence, you'd hire a freelancer or an agency to work on your copy to sell a product. There would be meetings where people would go over multiple revisions until a decision to choose the winner was made. Now you can ask ChatGPT to create compelling copy in a similar style to David Ogilvy by only spending $20 a month, and without the hassle of multiple meetings, dealing with an agency or freelancer that you don't like. Another example is the amount of hours people spend making presentations. Microsoft launched Copilot, and it is supposed to help you do just that, reduce the amount of time finding inspiration to create a presentation, think about the messaging, the tone, and soon enough it will be able to perform complex analytical tasks. And this will reduce the amount of hours spent in this activity. Think about it this way. For a business, someone who works 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, for a full year, it's one employee. And you translate that into hours. So you can bet that the business will translate those hours into cost savings. How much hours are you spending on these type of stuff that can be replaced by AI? Business is evolving at a rapid pace, and all of this will create new ways of looking at profitability, efficiency, and productivity. Layoffs are just a symptom of what's coming in the next few years, and we should be prepared to reinvent ourselves to catch the new wave. If you'd like to learn more about how companies use AI to increase their productivity, check out what Coca-Cola is doing with OpenAI in this video. Hope you liked that video and you learned something new today. I wish you all a fantastic week. If you'd like to see more content like this, smash that like button, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.